Welcome to the Precipitate Lab. This is a great lab to do for Chapter 4 when we're talking about types of reactions. This lab is actually one of my favorite labs. First off, we need to make sure we wear our goggles. Okay, we're going to be using our sheet here, which I've uploaded, and you can take a look at this. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do on this is we're going to be using, you have several different compounds down one side and over the top. You're going to be mixing each of these in the boxes provided, okay? And we're going to see what happens. If a precipitate is formed, you'll see it'll either look cloudy or it will look different colors. It will appear to be a different color, okay? So mixing them out will have different colors. Now in the lab, normally what we would do is at your station, you would take the sheet, you would put a transparency over your sheet, all right? And then we could go ahead and mix. We're going to do a drop of each of these substances on each of these boxes here, and you'll mix them. This is a great way to do a lab. It's called a micro lab. You can do numerous different experiments, but you have a small space here, so you're able to cover a lot of territory over a small amount of time. All right? Okay. So what we'll do first is we are going to take, on your sheet here, it says silver nitrate and potassium chromate. Okay? So silver nitrate and potassium chromate. So what I've got here is I'm going to take silver nitrate, which is okay, here's the potassium chromate. And we have the silver nitrate. Okay. So this is silver nitrate. This first one is silver nitrate, okay? We have to be careful that we don't expose it to the sunlight or to the light very long because it can react with light, okay? So we don't want to keep it out too long. And we have the, let's see, potassium chromate is number 8. That's this one, potassium chromate. You notice how this is rather clear looking. The silver nitrate is rather clear. The potassium chromate is a yellowish color. All right, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take these two. All right, I've got the silver nitrate. Okay, and I'm going to take just a little tiny bit of the silver nitrate. I'm actually going to do this in front here so you can see what I'm doing. I'll move these over. Okay. And I'm going to put a small drop, very small drop, on the silver nitrate. Okay. I got a drop right there. Okay. And then I'm going to take potassium chromate, okay? So I've got potassium chromate, which is this one, and I'm going to put a drop on top. Now I have to be careful that I don't touch the drop that was already there. So I want to hold it above, and I'm going to let the drop just fall onto it. And this is what happens. You can see I'm going to then go ahead and I'm going to put silver nitrate all the way across. All right. Then I'm going to put the potassium chromate. I'm going to put drops of that under here. So 1, Okay. The next one here is ammonium sulfate. Okay. That is number 2. Okay. So I get the ammonium sulfate, and I'm going to put that one in my pipette. And that one I'm going to do drop. Okay, and I'm going to actually do a drop on top of the potassium dichromate. We'll see what happens. Okay. Okay. The next one is potassium chloride. Okay, and potassium chloride is number 3. All right, potassium chloride, I'm going to do 1 drop here. Across, okay. And then I'm going to do sodium carbonate. All right. And sodium carbonate is this one. And now I'm going to do 1 drop. Okay. That's sodium carbonate. Okay. And then I'm going to do lead nitrate. Okay. And lead nitrate is this one. Okay. So now I'm going to do lead nitrate. So I'm going to do this one across. Okay. And then the last 2, let's see, barium hydroxide. So barium hydroxide is, let's see, barium hydroxide. This one. Okay, and copper sulfate. Copper sulfate. Which is just 1 right here. Okay, ooh, that changed color. Okay, now the copper sulfate is also in this one, so this column. Okay, notice how copper sulfate is normally a blue color. Okay, that's copper sulfate. Okay, now I'm going to do the barium hydroxide. Go down that column. Okay. And the lead nitrate. Oops. Okay, be careful not to touch the drop that's already there. The next one is sodium carbonate. Okay, and and potassium chloride. Oops. All right. And ammonium sulfate. All right, good, so we're done. Okay, so what I want you to see is if you look at this closely, you're looking to see if there's any precipitate formed. If it turns cloudy or milky colored, or if it turns a different color, okay? And that's what we're gonna be looking for in our lab. So if you look at this, here's what they look like. It's kind of hard to see, but if you look at each of these, okay, maybe at this angle, look and see if you can see any sort of a precipitate formed, okay? Some of these, it's hard to tell by the camera. But if it's, if it looks at all like there's any sort of a precipitate, some of these actually have a cloudy appearance. Okay, that one's pretty cloudy right there. The sodium carbonate is cloudy. Also this one here, the lead nitrate one. So this one is cloudy, that one's cloudy. Okay, it's kind of hard to tell for you guys. Okay. So what we have is, number one is silver nitrate, okay? Number one is silver nitrate. Number two is ammonium sulfate. Okay, number three is potassium chloride. Number four, sodium carbonate. Okay, number five is lead 2 nitrate. Okay, number six is barium hydroxide. Okay, notice that's cloudy. Okay, so yeah, that tends to precipitate out. And seven, that was six. Seven is copper sulfate. You've seen that before. And number eight is potassium chromate. Okay, all right. So now what you're going to do is, we're going to work in class. I'm going to go over what you're going to be doing with this, how you're going to go ahead and figure out if a precipitate is formed or not. But this just gives you a good idea of what's happening, okay? Okay, to show you a little bit better how this works, I'm going to go ahead and put some silver nitrate in a beaker, okay? And here we have a beaker. I'm going to put some in here, okay? Pour just a little bit in. Okay? And then I'm going to add potassium chromate. Okay? Potassium chromate is yellow. So let's see what happens when I do this. Okay? And that's what we've got. That's how it happens. Here is the precipitate. Notice how it almost looks like tomato juice inside there, but that's the precipitate. Okay, so I put some silver nitrate into this watch glass, okay? And I'm just going to add a few drops of potassium chromate, okay? Ah, see what's happening? That is a precipitate. We're forming a precipitate, So we know that silver nitrate plus potassium chromate forms precipitate. You see, there's a brownish red precipitate there. You might think it's tomato juice, but it's not. That's a precipitate. Okay, that's what's happening on all of these different little spots here. Okay, if you were in the lab, you'd probably see it a little bit better. Unfortunately, you can't. But that's what happens with a precipitate. Okay, and it's kind of there. It is.